Today we will look at one of the Adrena Pro routing functions, the Multi Gribs routing. This routing can test different Grib files to assess the stability of the weather forecast. So let's take an example with the Bermuda Race. I downloaded 2 wind Grib files and a current Grib file. You need to save the Grib files you want to compare in a specific folder on your hard disk. Here it is. I've saved them on my computer. I open the routing window. I determine my starting point, Newport, and my point of arrival in Bermuda. As we're crossing the Gulf Stream, I downloaded a current Grib file. I check the current tab and make sure that the current is taken into account for the calculation of my routing. I then click on the Scan tab to scan the different Grib files. So here I select Multi Gribs and I go into the folder where I stored the Gribs I want to scan. I then run the routing. The first routing is done with the Canadian model and the second one with the American model. We see that the 2 tracks are different, especially in the second part of the routing. We will try to understand why. Firstly, I will hide the current and I will superimpose the 2 models here by using the forecast toolbar. That's it. Then I will place myself at the start of the race, so on Friday at 10 AM. With the F5 and F6 keys, I can move forward and backwards to see the evolution of the forecasts. We can see the boats moving along the tracks. It's the expected positions. At the beginning of routing, it is clear that the wind is identical on the 2 models. The routings are similar. The tracks then diverge because the wind is different on the 2 models. The wind remains from the north on the Canadian model and rotates to the south on the American one. To have an overview of my predicted tracks, I extract the 2 routings from the scanned routings so that they become regular routings. Here I have the blue track for the Canadian model and the green track for the American one. I select my Display Routing options, click on Show Wind along the track. I can see the evolution of the wind on both tracks and the difference between the 2 models. In the display options, I can choose to colour the tracks according to a type of data I select. For example, the current velocity, which will allow me to visualise here in red the crossing of the Gulf Stream. I can also select a different colour for the tracks I am sailing on. We see that with the Canadian model, we will sail all the time on port tack, which allows me to organise things on board for stacking and for the manoeuvres. Today we've seen how to use the multi-grib functions of Adrena. See you soon to discover new functions of our software.